All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. Gonna see for its local search and for its city search if it is they got BSS, yes or no for either or both of them. So we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the #1 boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And more on this, pinned video, home video, somewhere around here. And that's because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our FSIC graph in white here. Highest intent people on the left. These are the peeps searching literally today for boudoir photo shoot in their city. We focus on those peeps here with our BSS videos about BSS because these are highest intent, easiest to convert, closest to the money people. Over on the right, our lowest intent people. We talk about those with our sister brand of Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And currently over there, we only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand per month in boudoir Facebook ads. Now, BSS means boudoir search sameness. That means a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 on Google. 0 slots on page 1 on Google means obviously, they're on page 2 or deeper, somewhere deeper. And we care about this because we know approximately 80% of Google searches never ever even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done searches, that's it. Which means if we're on page 2, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the market. And 1 slot on page 1 of Google, that ain't good either because, there's 10 organic slots page 1 on Google. If 9 other boudoir photographers each have 1 slot, everyone's looking the same, everyone's got 1 slot. We're not saying that, we're basically invisible. And guess what? A boudoir photographer is, or a boudoir buyer, their behavior is going to be just clicking through everyone on page 1. Well, approximately 80% of the boudoir buyers, they're only going to be clicking through everyone on page 1. They'll never go to page 2. And they'll be comparing everyone on page 1. And as a result, they will, filling out everyone's contact form, getting price quotes, negotiating, pulling down the price, asking for more. It's kind of annoying to deal with, to run a business that way. And most of them won't even go with us. So it's like, man, what's even the point? Now, 0 1 slots on page 1 of Google is actually not normal. It is a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. And those 2 deeper root causes are market saturation and the false belief of page 1 equality. So market saturation, the number one thing there is, well, basically everyone knows this. This is more boudoir photographers entering the market over time. Just simply as people upgrade their gear, kind of like get a new iPhone, get a new camera. This just naturally happens. Then eventually they throw up their Google My Business profile saying they're a boudoir photographer. They've got their website ranking on page 1 of Google they're competing to, saying they shoot boudoir photography. They are also increasingly posting in the mom groups on Facebook that that they now offer boudoir photo shoots. And a big market saturation time with COVID, tons of people lost their jobs, so they're in money. Everyone's got a super powered smartphone with awesome camera. Tons of people became boudoir photographers in that time. Now, the false belief of page 1 equality. This is the new one that very few people know about. So what this is actually a lot of boudoir photographers have kind of assumed or accepted that every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots page 1 on Google. And it's kind of like, yeah, whether Google wants to give you that slot, yes or no. And maybe you're on, who knows, slot 7, page 1, slot 7. Then some market saturation happened. Now you're on page 2, slot 2. And a lot of boudoir photographers are like, oh, well, I hope those new peeps, delete their website and Google de-indexes them. So maybe Google will bring me back up onto page 1. But no, this is 100% incorrect. This is the wrong way to think about it, because what we have learned and we have the data to show is Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots on Google as we want, and we actually do put in the effort to acquire. And I know this because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days with this new methodology we discovered. So that's how we know the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. Now, boudoir photographer with BSS, boudoir search sameness, is a disappearing boudoir photographer, a DBP. Again, if we got 0 slots page 1 Google search, that means we're page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. If we got 1 slot page 1 on Google, we're looking the same as the other 9 competitors that are on there for a total of 10 slots. We're still invisible, we're still disappearing, we're slowly dying. So in both these scenarios, it's kind of the canary in the coal mine, kind of the warning light, the red flag that's telling us our boudoir photography business itself is now on its way to disappearing. But thankfully, we now have a solution. We've discovered that BSS is actually treated with social search saturation, aka our S-cubed methodology. And we know this because we invented it. That's how we went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google in only 10 days. We'll see that data here, I don't know, like 4 or 5 more pictures. Now, S-cubed methodology, the way it works, it's exactly in the name. We saturate social search with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, so we show up there for those. And this is kind of like, when we do this, it's kind of like the snow at the top of the Andes Mountains down in South America on the eastern side, the backside. Snow back there. What eventually happens is that snow melts, small streams, small rivers, and guess what? It all flows into the Amazon River. That Amazon River is Google page 1. But to get all that water there, first got to be snow at the top of the mountains. So saturating social search, that's our snow. That's where everything begins. That's the input we care about, our S-cubed methodology. Everything flows from successfully executing S-cubed methodology correctly. And the interesting thing about this is the only solution I've seen for boudoir photographers that actually enables them, that gives them a chance for their business to continue to grow, even in the face of market saturation, and even if they don't have a large, well-known brand, and to do all this give them this opportunity in a relatively quick time frame. The only other shot would obviously to have a large, well-known brand to compete against market saturation. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. We got AI taking people's jobs. We don't have time. We don't have 5 to 10 years to build a large, well-known brand. What's actually interesting is utilizing S-cubed methodology. My estimates is it will actually speed up the process of creating a large, well-known brand in an area by approximately 8x, because it'll be seen with such a much higher frequency across so many more platforms. That's my estimates. It's kind of like a secondary benefit of utilizing this technology. So now an example. All right, so right now we're going to Phoenix, and there are currently 1 million boudoir photographers in Phoenix. We are one of them. Since we don't have a large, well-known brand, then the only way we can, everyone's got their websites and their boudoir photographer competing page 1 in Google search. So since nobody's got any of those since there's so many competitors, we realize, all right, we got to use S-cubed methodology to get out of this mess. Let's say we crank it up to the max. Let's say we're ranked for the first 300 slots across all of social search for the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords. And let's say that flows out onto Google. And we're taking up the first 300 organic slots on Google. And we know it's 10 organic slots per page on Google. And so as a result, taking up literally the first 30 pages, and we are basically, for any boudoir buyer to find any of our competitors, they got to scroll down to slot 301. And on Google, that's page 31. I mean, who's doing that? Basically no one. So when any boudoir buyer is actually searching for, any boudoir photo shoot in our city or any high intent boudoir buyer keyword in our city, we're basically the only ones showing up. And as a result, we, whose business is growing? Most likely ours. Whose business is dying, fading, disappearing? Most likely the other 999,999 boudoir photographers that buyers really can't even find them because we're saturating all the surfaces where they could be found. So this is kind of a ultra extreme example of what S-cubed methodology can enable for a boudoir photography business. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page 1 visibility, P1V. Yeah, we get our initial benefit, more slots page 1 on Google. Got our second initial benefit of every new slot we get page 1 on Google. We actually get, we're actually kicking our competing boudoir photographers in our city off that page, and we effectively make them invisible because now they're on page 2 or deeper, and we already know approximately 80% of Google searches are page 1 only searches. So We can basically choose to make our competitors disappear and put their business on the path of disappearing depending on how much effort we want to put into acquiring all these slots. Now, page one visibility activates Boudoir search visibility for us, BSV. This is where the GBC universe has a recommended minimum of having minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search. That's because all the other boudoir photographers will basically have one slot, so we're going to be dominating them for buyers scrolling page one. And on the ultra rare case, someone has 2 slots, we're going to be dominating them as well because we have 3. We also know that boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer VBP. So we got our full, basically our full kind of got our full micro universe here. We got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality, the false belief page one equality. We can now solve it with S-cubed methodology. We achieve page one visibility. We become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Just kind of our micro universe here. And now we're gonna look at my results. So the results that I got, purely using S-cubed methodology. So I want to dominate rank for this keyword, BLCS boudoir. I want to dominate page one Google search. And let's see the results I got with it. So we're getting slot 1, Instagram, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So the best thing about this is from 0 to 10 slots page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days, purely utilizing S-cubed methodology. All right, now to our main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business, see if it has BSS, see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimum, 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for local Washington, D.C., well, technically that's city, and then region. All right, so the DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. All right, so region should actually be way more competitive than what we've normally seen. All right, let's go to D.C. All right, so let's see what we got. All right, we got 0 out of 10 here for city search. Let's go to the DMV area. All right, so we got 0 out of 10 for both. So we got BSS for both the city search and the regional search, and we got we're not hitting the recommended GBC yet. GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots page one Google search for either of these searches as well. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, you've done the local search for yourself, and you saw that you do have BSS, or you've not hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, and or you also did that same search, city search, for yourself, and you may have had BSS for your city, or you may have not have hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots for your city page one on Google. So you see you got BSS as it stands right now. You also understand the market saturation, a new phone, new camera, 2 prongs, but you understand this 3rd prong, which is AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs. So not only do you want to fortify, to basically compete with the current boudoir photographers using S-cubed methodology as your preferred solution, to kind of get more slots on page one, kick more people off page one currently. But you see, way more boudoir photographers going to be entering the market because of AI, because of people losing their jobs. And everyone's got a smartphone with a great camera. So you recognize you need to actually additionally fortify your position from the future boudoir photographers that it's going to be more and more over time as more and more people lose their jobs, because again, everyone's got a great camera on their smartphone. Easy to throw Google My Business profile on a website saying they offer boudoir shoots now. And you want to make sure those people, those new peeps, never even get on page one of Google to prevent people from finding them and price shopping you against them. And you understand that the false belief of page one equality is exactly that, a false belief. You do not have to accept either 0 or 1 slots page one on Google. Google will actually give us as many slots on page one as we want to put in the effort to acquire. So as a result of that, you're seeing SQ methodology, like, heck yeah, dude, I don't have a decade to build a brand. I need results much faster, which SQ methodology can provide results way faster in building a brand. It also it helps accelerate having a brand as well. That's kind of one of the back-end bonuses of that. And you want to achieve page one visibility. You want to become a visible boudoir photographer, and you want to achieve boudoir search visibility. And you want all that because you know you need it on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. You also want the two unspoken back-end benefits, where the more we execute SQ'd methodology, we're kind of like building up these thematic keyword columns around our social media usernames, our website, our brand, our name. And as we build those thematic keyword columns up, it's invisible, but it increases the probability AI brains recommend us here for Google AI overviews. Premium placement right at the top, way above everyone. Every day we execute SQ methodology correctly, we increase the probability going to be shown in the AI overview. And also, we're increasing the probability the other AI search options are recommending us in their search. So that's ChatGPT search, Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. Building up these thematic keyword columns, kind of like spokes on a wheel or spokes on a hub. Our hub is our business name, all our social accounts. We're building up this invisible kind of AI brain mindshare, invisible momentum that only AI can see and pull from to be recommended. And the last time I did, I searched for boudoir photographers in a city. The city had like 60 when I went and looked manually, but ChatGPT search only recommended 3. So we're going to increase the probability we get that by successfully utilizing S-cubed methodology. And the final thing on the back end is you want to be a first mover on this because you see, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. And so you're saying, man, you can get the current benefits, more slots on page 1, and kick off current boudoir photographers from page 1, make them visible page 2 and deeper, and fortify yourself against future boudoir photographers coming into the market from losing their jobs via AI, and the back-end mindshare of AI overview for Google and AI default search by being early adopter, working with me first in your city, and crowd out all your other competitors from working with me. Because again, my current plan is to only work with 1 boudoir photographer per city. And you also see, if your competitor instead jumps in with me first, then you'll actually have to re-engineer S-cubed methodology somehow, recreate it, rederive it somehow, do all that testing, and you'll never be 100% confident you've rederived it correctly. But so you'd have to take all the time to rederive it or derive it for yourself the first time, and then go execute and implement it, while me and your competitor have already made a massive gap ahead of you. And if you executed the same S-cubed methodology as us every day, you would simply maintain the gap. You would have to literally outwork us 2 or 3x every single day to make up the space, make up that gap, and actually make progress, pull the thematic keyword column momentum from your competitor's brand over to your brand. And, dude, who's got that much time in the day? Who has that much time? So you realize, screw that. You'd rather simply be first one early mover of your city to kick out all your competitors from using this against you. And obviously, I'll get all these benefits we talked about already. So if that's you, shoot me a DM. Shoot me a DM when my DM's open. My DMs are currently closed. New patient intake at the hospital is currently closed. So watch these videos. Wait for when I do open up the hospital, open up the new patient intake, and then shoot me a DM, and we'll see if you qualify to use S-cubed methodology.